What's going on, guys? Black Scout Survival, Late Night Live. And today we're going to be going over some updates on things in Israel as well as around the U.S. Things are obviously heating up quite a bit, and we're going to discuss a lot of those things. So anyway, nonstop bombing has been occurring in the Gaza Strip. I've got some footage here I'm going to play while I'm talking. So they continue to bomb the Gaza Strip, and they're preparing for a ground offensive into Gaza. Hundreds of buildings have been destroyed, thousands rendered irreparable and unlivable, and 338,000 Palestinians have fled their homes. The death toll has risen to 1,400, the wounded up to 6,200, and the death toll in Israel has risen to 1,200, with wounded up to 2,800. Supposedly, Palestinian hospitals are overwhelmed, and sorry, someone said there's no sound. No, there is sound. Anyway, so yeah, that's the bombing going on, and they're preparing, I guess, tomorrow, once the carrier strike groups in position, they're planning on carrying out a ground offensive. But I've also heard that they may not even do that. Depending, they may carry on with the air campaigns, and I guess we're gonna see about that. Now, I guess it really depends on how serious that we're going to get involved. If we keep on having Lindsey Graham talk about bombing Iran, even though there's no direct evidence, like he's wanting to just bomb people. And if you remember, he was the same guy that wanted us to go to war with Russia a few months back. He's a warmongering piece of garbage that is literally a threat to our national security. I wonder how much money he has in Halliburton. I mean, really, for him to want to go to war with everybody, he's wanting to bomb everybody. So I went back and I saw this right here. George Soros, the infamous American Israel must open up the door to Hamas. This is from the Financial Times, March 19, 2007. The Bush administration is again committing a blunder in the Middle East by supporting the Israeli government in its refusal to recognize a Palestinian unity government that includes Hamas. This precludes any progress towards a peace settlement at a time when the progress could avert conflagration in the greater Middle East. So, George Soros, Hamas supporter. So I keep seeing this rhetoric online, and I'm going to discuss it later in the video. But people, on both sides of the fence, supporting Hamas is just the weirdest thing to see. People supporting jihadists. It's the craziest thing ever. But the problem is that they issued basically the call to arms globally to attack Americans, Jews, everywhere. This coming from the founder of Hamas, and obviously coming after these bombing raids, we have they have killed some of the founding members of Hamas. So I do think it's very viable, and as well as how many people we have that entered in through the southern border. I'm going to show a video clip real quick discussing that as well.
Our southern border right now, thousands and thousands. It's a hemispheric move north, bigger than anything we've ever seen. And the challenge for our Border Patrol, for our Customs, for DHS, for the FBI is to try to keep up. Unfortunately, as you know, the system is broken, it's horribly backlogged, and there are a whole lot of people entering this country who we cannot identify.
Obviously, very much serious threats in the U.S. homeland. There's also articles online. Israel-Gaza threat, conflict-soaked tensions, and violent incidents arise in the U.S. So people around the U.S. are starting to get more serious. They're getting more agitated, either in support of Hamas or in support of Israel. And there's protests. Obviously, BLM, who's a violent organization, has said that they support Hamas. And so we have these terrorists that could be within having sleeper cells within the U.S. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they are. We don't know what they're planning. But I do have a good feeling that they're going to be doing something. The founder had a call to action. These people are radical extremists. And the thing is that this is the United States of America. We give out so much money and so much aid. We're sending battle groups everywhere. We won't even close our own southern border off. We send money to Ukraine, weapons to Ukraine. We're out of our stockpiles. We're sending ships over there to Israel, but they won't even stop people coming in our southern border. No one is coming to rescue us if things go sideways here. China's wanting us to get wrapped up in a war, in a 4-stage war, including multiple terrorist attacks within the U.S. And I played a video last night. If you didn't see that video, go watch it. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is something that's happening. They're trying to get us in multiple wars, multiple conflicts that we cannot handle. We fail economically and then wind up collapsing. But no one will be resupplying us, guys. We don't have a backup plan. No one will be airdropping food. No one will be giving us ammunition, medicines, none of those things. There's no place to escape either. They're not going to let Americans go in anywhere, right? So this is it. That's what I've been saying, to prepare yourselves, right? But I plan on doing a video tomorrow discussing more in depth on that topic, on preparations, and because I don't think this is just tomorrow thing. I think this is something you better get serious about, because it's getting serious. I saw a guy today, I pinned this comment on the video this morning. I was teaching a military technique on basically evasion or military movement to conceal your movement. And the guy commented saying that I'm unsubbing because, I'm always in fear watching your videos. Well, this is the reality of the world we live in. If you want to lie to yourself and pretend like nothing's going on, go watch Home and Garden TV, sip on your soy lattes, and pretend like everything's okay. But it's not. And a lot of people will say, well, it's paranoia. It's not paranoia. It's called being prepared. I'm happy every day. I make myself happy. I do things I enjoy. I also know there's real evil in the world, and I know that I have to be prepared against it, as well as you should too. We have radicals here in the U.S. American citizens elated for the beheadings of children, old ladies, the sexual assaults of teenage girls. I'm going to play a video real quick. It's got some language in it, so if you got kids around, just make sure you cover their ears. Disgusting stuff. This is America, guys. This is what you have in your towns and in your cities.
Should all give an applaud right now to Hamas for a job well done. When they woke up in the morning and they found the field hands in the house with a knife ready to cut their fucking throats. I was late to the news, but when I heard it, I smiled. I don't want to hear that bullshit. 250 innocent Israelis are dead. Fuck them! Again, I swear, I salute Hamas. A job well done.
They want to paint it here in America and in the US that what happened yesterday was terrorism. What happened yesterday was freedom fighters fighting for freedom. And I want to make one point. Every person that died yesterday was not innocent. It's our job here in the West to wake people up. It's our job to show people who the real terrorists. It's our job to show.
She said everybody deserved it. Kids, children, toddlers, young girls, men that gave the sign of surrender, that were killed. And anyone, I'm going to get real serious here for a moment, because the rhetoric I've seen from these folks over the past few days, these people that say they're conservatives, I'm not glad this happened, but I'm glad it shook out that there's a lot of people that call themselves the conservatives that you ain't going to be able to trust. that they're sitting around in the room with you, and you better look at them sideways because they're the ones that's cheering on the jihadists. They're saying Israelis deserve what happened. You look, because if you got somebody sitting in the room in your little circle, in your mag, in your militia, whatever it is, and they're sitting around in your family and they're praising what happened this week, you better get them out of your group because they'd be willing to do the same thing to you or your kids or your family. And I'm going to explain why. Anyone saying that Israel deserves what happened to them is a hypocrite. Okay. And I'm going to show you this comment in my last video right here. This guy right here. Israel has been committing war crimes for years, no media coverage. That's been the common rhetoric I've seen people saying that Israel deserves it. They bring up USS Liberty and all these sort of things. So let me bring up some things. Let me bring up some things. What about the WMDs in Iraq that didn't exist? Your country, my country, went and invaded a country, killed a bunch of people over a lie. What about Obama drone striking civilians by the hundreds? Trump, Operation Ghost Wolf. He killed 28 children in a drone strike, 86 civilians. Biden just killed some civilians in a drone strike last year. Okay? You bring up USS Liberty for justification. I guess people then, by you saying that, USS Liberty could have been done on purpose. It could have, because governments are evil. They do evil things. Your government, my government, does evil things. Does that mean I should pay for it, or your wife or your daughter, your toddler should pay for what the government did? Because if you're making that point, then you should agree with the left when they say all white people need to pay for slavery, retribution for slavery, because that was your country that did it. That's the same method of thinking. It's absolutely crazy, the hypocrites that I've seen. I'm blown away. I'm blown away that conservatives are pro-jihadist. It's the wildest thing I've ever seen. But it's good to know. It's kind of like Inglourious Bastards, like we know you're a Nazi. You know what I mean? When he's carving the symbol on the head, so we know that you are. Now we know what you are, right? Are you ready to give up your daughters to the jihadists because of what your country did in those Middle Eastern countries? They allowed 9/11 to happen so they could attack Afghanistan? Are you want to give up your wives? Are you want to give up your kids to the jihadists for retribution because you're as evil as they are? You see, that method of thinking is dumb. Saying that them young girls deserved what happened to them kids deserve what happened to them because their government's corrupt. Your government's corrupt too. My government's corrupt too. Does that mean we deserve to be tortured, beheaded? You better wake up. I'm serious. Because that's what you're saying. The people that are these pro-jihadis. Innocent citizens and civilians, children, shouldn't be punished for what the corrupt government does. Period. By your logic, what's coming tomorrow will be what we deserve. The attacks will be what we deserved because our government's evil. That means all of us are evil, right? No, that's not what it means. Quit using blanket statements on these things. You can't blame a government, the people, for what the government does. The thing is, I spoke about the beheaded children days ago, before the media hit it. You can go look at when the news articles published and go look at when I said it. I said it before it ever got published. You know why? Because I saw it. Because I saw it. I didn't see 40 of them. I saw 2, and too freaking many. Too many. Oh, you didn't see the 40? Yeah, I didn't see 40. I didn't say I seen 40. I said I seen some. And then you sickos that want to see the videos yourself, after I tell you you don't want to see it. But if you do want to see it, go download Tor, get on the dark web, and go look at it. I'm sure you'll get your jollies off on it because you're pro-jihadis, right? They want to say because Biden made us say, when do you freaking believe Joe Biden all of a sudden? Because Joe Biden said he saw it, then they recanted, said no, he didn't. He probably did see it, but they can't have the president of the United States saying that he's seen that, right? Look, I don't like Anthony Blinken for shit. I don't like the guy at all. I don't like anybody in the Biden administration. But here, he listened in detail. He was shown the atrocities that was committed by the terrorist group Hamas. He drew parallels to ISIS. I'm going to show the video. And you tell me by looking in this man's eyes and how he's talking that he really did see it.
Israeli government shared with us. Some I think has actually already been seen in public media. Others were new to me, and I think new to our team. It's hard to find the right words. It's beyond what anyone would ever want to imagine, much less actually see and, God forbid, experience. A baby, an infant, riddled with bullets. Soldiers beheaded. Young people burned alive in their cars or in their hideaway rooms. I could go on, but it's simply depravity in the worst imaginable way. It almost defies comprehension. And as I've been saying, to me, in the most immediate future, harkens back to ISIS and some of the very things we saw when it was on its rampage that thankfully was stopped. So I think for any human being to see this, it's really beyond almost anything that we can comprehend, digest. And I just add that when you see this, you try to imagine, maybe not try, you can't help but imagine yourself, your family, your loved ones, your friends in that situation, in that predicament. And maybe the best word for it for me is overwhelming. I think what it's done is, as I said, united a country in profound grief, but also united a country in resolve. And it's imperative that the rest of us share that resolve. I said this earlier. This is a moment for moral clarity. This is a moment where everyone needs to make clear that there is revulsion, disgust, and a determination not to allow this to go forward. So, images are worth 1,000 words. These images.
So, like I said, I don't like Anthony Blinken at all. He probably knew about the Hamas attack. Let's just be honest. They probably had intel. Didn't do anything to stop it. I mean, I'm just guesstimating. I mean, I don't know. But regardless, you can tell that man saw it. You can see it in his eyes. He saw what he's talking about. But because CNN told you, and I don't know when we started listening to CNN, because CNN told you that it ain't real. They cannot confirm. That doesn't mean that it's not true. They just can't confirm. I don't believe CNN for nothing, because I'll tell you what's going to happen. In a few weeks, America's going to pull back from Israel. Obama is pro-Palestine, always has been. Obama is the one running the show. So of course, he's really in charge. So America's going to pull back, going to tell them to give them their borders back. This is what's going to happen if we're not World War III. But that was the old clip. This is from whenever Biden, his drone strike killed a bunch of children. So the thing is, we got to worry about it. NYPD orders all cops to report in uniform after Hamas chief calls for global protests. So you got to be ready, guys, not just for tomorrow, but for the future. I told you for 2 years, 3 years now, the world's never going to be the same again. It's never going to be pre-2020. Never will be. It's only going to get worse. They've got their foot on the gas and they're not going to let off of it. These wars, all these things I think are probably interconnected. All these things are meant to bring down America, right? Globalist elites, world totalitarian government, all these things. And these are the things people call conspiracy theories. That every time everything turns out to be true. So there's no such thing. Conspiracy theories just means you figured it out before everybody else did, or before the news will tell you. But the last thing I do is listen to what freaking CNN says. They're always trying to spin a narrative. I believe they're a CIA propaganda hub. I mean, to be honest with you. But you got to be ready, be hard to kill. And I'm going to go over a lot of that stuff tomorrow. You may have to run, fight, climb. A lot of people talk about how they're doing this and that, but they're not training. I train every day. I'm an older guy. I train every day still. Every day. I want to be hard to kill, right? Let me switch gears for a moment on that note. People struggle with weight today, okay? And I'm not wearing this shirt to show off I'm wearing my shirt because of this. Putting them in the ground since 1801. If you know what 1801, if you're a Marine, you better know what that is. You're singing in the song. What the Marines did in 1801. 8 Marines, 4,000 men. Anyway, people struggle with weight. It's not even your fault, though. The things they do to food, I see people telling crap about overweight people saying they're lazy, this and that. It's not even true. I've seen guys that work harder, outwork many people that are overweight. But it's due to the food additives, plastics, all these various things that just destroy your endocrine system. Truthfully, in my opinion, it's all by design to make you slower, to make you addicted to sugars and things like that. The FDA has constantly approved deadly stuff, constantly. And one of the biggest factors is your age, because of your insulin sensitivity. If you eat carbs, it turns to sugars. You may or may not know this, but when you eat carbs, whether it's oatmeal, rice, whatever, bread, that junk turns to sugar in your blood. And you can't outwork a bad diet. And I figure that the hard way. I've always, I mean, unless you have stellar genetics, you can outwork it. But I've been lifting and working out my entire life. I mean, seriously dedicated for the past 20 years. And 15 years ago, 15 to 20 years ago, I literally ate pizza every meal. I'm going to get my wife on here to tell you that one day. I ate pizza every single. I didn't eat breakfast. I ate lunch and dinner, pizza. Seriously. And I only drank Mountain Dews. And I smoked cigarettes and dipped. Did both of them. I got the double nicotine. I was in shape. I had muscles. I was ripped. But then as time went on, I started gaining weight. Age caught up with me because my metabolism shut down. And so something I learned about a while back, a long time back, from Dr. Andrew Huberman. And if you don't know who he is, he's a freaking genius. You should follow him. Follow him on all social media. He's been on Jocko, Rogan. He's done things with David God. He's a neuroscientist or something to that effect, but he does all kinds of experiments. But I learned about something called berberine. Berberine is a compound that is associated with several benefits, including decreased blood sugar levels, increased weight loss, and better heart health. The reason why is because you age. I'm an old man. I know I don't look like I am, but I am old. It makes you have more blood sugar, your insulin sensitivity, right? I'm going to show you this clip of Andrew Huberman talking about berberine for a moment.
Insulin is low, you do place your system in a position to oxidize more fat. There are going to be a number of things that impact insulin and glucagon that are going to shift the body toward more fat burning. And so, for instance, berberine, which comes from a plant, or metformin are compounds that are now in kind of growing use for reducing blood glucose. They are very potent at reducing blood glucose, which will reduce insulin and thereby can increase fat oxidation. And that's because, as I mentioned before, fat oxidation, this conversion of fatty acids into ATP in the mitochondria, is inhibited by insulin. So if you keep insulin low, you're going to increase that process.
So there's another guy I found on YouTube. I'm going to post, if I can, real quick in the live link, and you can copy and paste this on your browser. This guy right here actually tested his blood sugar, because you know the diabetics have to test their, and he tested his blood sugar after eating oatmeal, then the next day after eating oatmeal with berberine. And so the reason why I'm even talking about that is because Black Forest Supplements has came out with berberine. And like I said, I've been taking it before then, but this is 5 times berberine right here. It's relatively cheap product. Also take it with something called Akkermansia. Akkermansia is for gut health. It also has an additive in there to control appetite. And then obviously NMN is something that I'm a firm believer in. This stuff is the limitless pill. But anyway, I definitely recommend the new berberine they have. And they have a discount code, SCOUT25, for 25% off orders of $100. So I'll put that link and code below so you can get some. But berberine is something that I use. I definitely recommend it if you're older. Good for females. All of their stuff is synergistic. Like I put all the pills in my mouth in the morning and I take all of them at the same time. So anyway, become harder to kill. Turkesterone is great for building muscle. And the Tonkat Ali they sell is good for increasing testosterone, especially if you're older. But if you're struggling with weight, I definitely recommend the berberine and the Akkermansia. Okay, it'll help. Turkesterone too if you're lifting weights, because it will help with gaining muscle, which also facilitates weight loss. So these are all things that I use. A lot of guys here, just comment on if you're a user of these products. That way people can know that I'm not just filling their head. The thing is, guys, I don't lie, because if I sell you a product and I say it does X, Y, and Z, after you buy it and then it doesn't do X, Y, and Z for you, you'll never believe me ever again. You'll never buy anything I say. I only promote things that I personally use, right? So, and I want you to be fit. I want you to be harder to kill, because nobody's coming to save you. Hamas has already killed 27 Americans, right? And you don't think these people want you exterminated as well, because they do. They do. Keep your head on a freaking swivel. And guys, remember to stay frosty, Stratton, and dangerous at all times, especially tomorrow and every day after that. I'm going to put a link to this below and put the code SCOUT25 for 25% off $100 order. Also want to know your thoughts on the things I said. Another thing is that I may not change your mind about your opinions on Israel, Hamas, or any of those things, but I feel like I'm a very logical man, and I feel like that I think logically. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm a super genius, but it's just logic, and I think a lot of people are hypocrites, because you can't blame the people on the actions of the government. How many corrupt, tyrannical governments are, right? So anyhow, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight. Please comment below. And again, remember to stay frosty, strapped, and dangerous, especially if you're in major cities, guys. Seriously, be careful. Protect your family. Make sure that they know and they're responsible as well, because you may be the one watching the video tonight and you know you got the intel, but make sure you share it with them, that they know what's going on, that there's been a call to action to harm Americans and Jews. So anyhow, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and be safe. Take care.